I hope it's a good morning for you. For me, not so much. I'm wearing all black because I'm on my way to my own funeral. But it is time to skip the BS, as in Dallas Cowboys. Time for Undisputed. Time for me to admit my Dallas Cowboys got beat down last night into a second-half meltdown by Dak Prescott, who took another couple of years off my life with another deer-in-headlights performance last night. I bought a new Dak jersey for this season. I wore it during last night's game like it was going to actually bring me some good luck, maybe even him too. This is what I did with it with about 2 minutes left in 49ers 42, Cowboys 10.
You did all that? You waited that long?
Yeah. I thought about throwing Micah's number 11 into the trash also, but I spared him. But now I will not be spared by Richard Sherman and Keyshawn Johnson. Bad morning to you two.
You will not.
Yeah. I will withstand the onslaught of Cowboy hatred for the next few minutes. Then the great Michael Irvin will join me at 10 Eastern straight up, because I will need his Hall of Fame help. Michael, I hope you have some answers I don't have at this moment, please.
Skip, you know, first of all, I want to appreciate you guys for giving me a moment to gather myself after this tough weekend. Not just Dallas, but Miami, too. And we're going to talk about this guy right here. This guy right here, he should have his head down after giving me the performance he had yesterday. And right here, Michael Parsons, I can't see him smiling. He's not showing any teeth, and he didn't show any teeth last night in that defense. No so teeth. Listen, we got a lot to talk about, guys. My job is usually to give hope, and it's hard for me to find hope right now.
All right, stay tuned for that. But here we go, back to this debate desk.
Debate?
Richard Sherman, you first. Tell me you told me so.
Skip.
And by the way, you are decked out in your, is that 49er red? Is that
this is 49er red. No
I thought you were a Seahawk. I thought you'd wear green.
Hey, I wear them both because both of them have paid my bills and changed my life, Skip. But how about those Niners, Skip?
How about them?
My goodness.
You deserve it for now.
My goodness. I knew it, Skip. Yeah. I told you. Every level of the defense, every level of the offense was better. Skip, it's no question. We're going to go immediately to the tape because the tape speaks louder than I ever could. You said Brock Purdy. You wanted to see more, Key. You getting to see more. 4 touchdowns. He only had 5 on the year. He got 4 in this game. He threw it to George Kittle because you said you had a 3-headed monster, Skip, at safety. He scored on all 3.
He did.
He said, you can get it, you can get it, you can get it. He 3 touchdowns, Skip. He did everything he wanted to do. This was the difference between the San Francisco 49ers and the Dallas Cowboys. One is a true contender. One is a pretender. And they've been this way for a long time. That's why before the game, you hear the Dallas Cowboys. This is so important. Rah, rah, rah. You hear Skip Bayless. Hype my team up. Key, hype them up. Call them softies. They're gonna be so riled up. They're gonna hear you, and it doesn't matter what you hear. It doesn't matter what you say. You're going to get hit in the mouth, and that's what happened. Brock Purdy, in the pocket, out of the pocket. George Kittle, easy touchdown. That's the first touchdown of the game. Drove right down the field. Then you get this. They get sexy with it. Give it to George Kittle again. Say, hey, you forgot. You were so worried about Christian McCaffrey, you forgot about this guy.
And
then guess what? Bangladesh again, George Kittle. I'm just trying to tell you that no matter what you did, this was an inevitability, Skip. They beat you on the ground. They beat you through the air. They ran at your best player. Your best player wasn't at his best. He did more talking throughout the week and less performing in this game. And then he did more talking after the game, which leaves you more concerned. He says, hey, they're not a better team. They're just the same kind of team as us, the same kind of playoff caliber team. What? What game are you watching? What game are you a part of? They ran it right at you. Jordan Mason, on his touchdown, they ran it right at him and your guy Van Der Esch. Again, we talk about better players. These linebackers from San Francisco, both of them would start over Van Der Esch if they were in Dallas.
Well, I think they'd start over anybody anywhere. But
look right here. They ran at Van Der Esch and 11 from heaven. And look what it ended up being.
Yep.
They quit.
By the way,
they
Van
quit.
Der Esch played his ass off last
You know
night,
why?
And then he got hurt. But that's just
no. That's just you.
10 tackles.
Just because you tackle a lot, he was tackling 8 yards, 9 yards down the field.
Yeah,
there was one time he got tackled 11. He made a tackle 11 yards down the field. We're going to talk about Brock Purdy because this is Brocktober. This is Brocktober. That's what month we're in, and it just started.
Brocktober?
Brocktober. This elite defense that the Dallas Cowboys were supposed to have, I don't want to hear about it anymore. I don't want to hear about historic this, historic that. It's not historic. You lost an all-pro player in Trayvon Diggs, but the rest of these guys are supposed to be good. Your best player didn't play his best. He doesn't get to talk right now. Van Der Esch, non-existent. I'm saying Brock Purdy, in the 10 games that he started, has the highest passer rating of any player in the history of the National Football League over 10 games. That's just a true fact. 9 touchdowns, no interceptions this game. I don't want to hear, oh, he's not elite. He doesn't have elite arm talent. I don't care about what the measurables or anything. I care about production. On the field, he's the best. This defense, Dallas Cowboys were averaging 10 points a game on defense, stopping guys, stopping people. Now they're 13th because they got 42 put on them. And I'm not talking Don Julio. I'm not talking Jackie Robinson. I'm talking about 42 points. And I knew it would happen. You know why, Skip? Because the Arizona Cardinals, let me do a little math for you. The Arizona Cardinals, they beat you by 12. So that's 12 points. Then the San Francisco 49ers beat the Arizona Cardinals by 19. So that's a margin of 31 points. What did they beat you by, Skip? 32. Oh, Skip, I'm only just getting started. I'm only just getting started because you were so worried about Christian McCaffrey like they didn't have other all-pros. Like they didn't have George Kittle. Like they didn't have Deebo Samuel. Like Brandon Ayuk isn't an issue.
By the way, Christian McCaffrey averaged 2.7 yards per rush.
And you got beat by 32. So, oh, my God, maybe you were worried about the wrong thing. I thought Trey Lance gave you all the answers. Maybe Trey Lance was with the Niners. Maybe he was giving you exactly what they thought you would give. Go ahead, Key, sorry.
Pile on, Keyshawn.
I'm not going to pile on. I'm going to simply just try to bring some order to you and Michael's life. Because yesterday, prior to the game, you and I, we text back and forth, Michael, we just kind of, whatever. Now, when you think about it, though, Skip, Michael walks into the sports bar, kickoff, everything's great, the whole deal. He honored his commitment at the beginning of the game by saying, hey, I'm going to come watch the game with my guy. Yeah. I honored my commitment at 21-7 at halftime to leave the game and go home because I knew exactly what was going to happen. And the entire time, not only myself and Richard have tried our best to explain to you what could potentially happen to your Dallas Cowboys. So much for that leading in point differential on the defensive side of the ball and turnovers. So much for all those things. And I heard you just out the corner of my ear or my eyes, better yet, looking at you, and then I could hear you talk about Christian McCaffrey and his 2-point-something average. I'm not just speaking on Christian McCaffrey. Let's take the rush total as a whole. 170 yards on the ground.
Well.
Okay, that's short of what Arizona did to you because they went over the 200-yard mark, but that's okay, 170. The 170 is a lot. You talk about the physicality that came to bear from the San Francisco 49ers. You talk about Van Der Esch. I and Michael sat and watched the game, and I wanted to break down tape, but I didn't want to pick on any individual because he was being picked up off the ground multiple times. He might have had 10 tackles, as Richard Sherman said, down the field. But at the line of scrimmage, he was being picked up several times by the San Francisco 49ers offensive linemen. It was just unbelievable. On the Christian McCaffrey fumble alone, the dude was on top of him, pounding him into the turf. So when you start to break things down, physicality-wise, the San Francisco 49ers had 6 tackles for loss, 9 quarterback hits. Let's stop there. Then 3 quarterback sacks. They created havoc. Offensively, they dominated you guys, okay? They just did. They even, to the point of good coaching, took a play out of Detroit's playbook from earlier in the day. Kyle Shanahan probably sat in his damn office and said,
that's not true.
Wait a minute. This is a reverse, okay? It worked to the top. It's the same exact play, Skip. That's telling me that he looked at something that Detroit did and said, we can run this. Let's put this in. No, that may be true.
Yeah.
They may have already had it.
They definitely had it.
But they put it in for this particular game because you're a great defense. You're a great guy, number 11. He wasn't nowhere to be found at all.
Casper.
What do you call him? Michael, number 11, Parsons, something? You give him a
11
nickname?
from heaven.
11 from heaven.
Yeah, my old Micah.
11's from heaven. The next Lawrence Taylor. The next this. Lawrence Taylor wouldn't have been on the sideline doing touchdowns. He'd have been on the field.
Right.
And it ain't a personal attack on Michael Parsons because Michael Parsons is probably going to wind up in a Hall of Fame one day if he continues at the trajectory that he's in. The MVP is not out of question on the defensive side of the ball for it. It just, it's going to extend itself. So I don't want to go too much and pile on. The fact that what happened to the Dallas Cowboys, Skip, as I warned you last week, you could be possibly facing something that you don't want to face, and you know what that is, and we'll talk about that later on. So you could defend.
But I do need you on the record. Are you now predicting the Dallas Cowboys will miss the playoffs?
Nobody?
I teased it for later.
Oh. But I just need an upfront, on-record prediction.
Do I predict there's a possibility?
Not a possibility.
No, there's a possibility.
A reality. I can't say a reality. I need facts.
I can't say that.
You want facts? I got a couple more for you. You want more facts?
They're not. Here's a fact that I can promise you: they ain't gonna win the damn division. I can promise you that.
You know what I can promise you, Skip? I can promise you this: there ain't no Super Bowl for y'all. But I'll let you go.
I promise you that too. You ain't going to no Super Bowl. I can promise you that.
All right, you each still owe me a dinner.
Yeah, you get that.
It'd be the best dinner I ever gave you, Skip, and I'll laugh all the way.
And I'm ready to bet you another dinner each that the Dallas Cowboys will bounce back and will make the playoffs if you're willing to take that bet right right now.
Don't care.
Don't care?
Nope.
Or afraid? Afraid?
No, Skip. It's an irrelevant, erroneous point because they're going home. They're not a relevant team in this league.
Afraid. Okay, I got both of them on record. They're both afraid to accept that bet because they're still
You just lost by 32.
Okay. I'm going to warn both of you.
Please.
Keyshawn always says, you got to slow your roll. I'm going to warn both of you.
Please warn me.
As you well know, it's a long, long season. It's only just now getting
short,
started.
though, Skip.
I will give you this. The 49ers last night maxed out. I will give you this. We crapped out. They played virtually the best game they can play. There were little things here and there. Brock Purdy missed a couple of throws. He got a couple batted down at the line of scrimmage. But overall, I'm not sure they can play much better than they played last night.
How much better do you need them to play?
I am sure we cannot play worse than we played last night. We cannot play worse. The Dallas Cowboys are still a good football team.
Yes,
the 49ers just might be a great, as in all-time great football team. And we're going to talk about this a little later because you have to give them a shot if you look down their schedule. If they can stay healthy of winning every freaking game left on their schedule. And I'm talking about all the way through the Super Bowl because that's how good they looked last night.
Don't want it.
All right. Now, here's the point about last night. I knew what my quarterback was and what he wasn't. I've been saying this for 3 years. I keep trying to just barely cling to him, and I just barely hang on. And I go by a New Jersey, and I say, okay, maybe this time he can stay out of the way, and maybe he can get off a little hot, and maybe he can get in some comfort zone, and maybe they can actually run the football around him and take some of the heat and discomfort off him, because he never looks comfortable against San Francisco at all. This is 3 straight losses, the last 2, obviously, the previous 2 in the playoffs. You look at his QBR, it's under 50. It's a very good defense he's up against, but they have his psychological number. He is deer in headlights. I know what he is, but most of all, I know what he's not. And I've been saying it for year after year after year. And now I'm done with Dak Prescott. You have to just try to work around him and overcome him. And there is this kid named Trey Lance. I'm a big fan. And there's a chance at some point we get to see some Trey Lance.
I can't wait.
Now
back to the real problem of last night.
Please.
The reason I picked Dallas to win the game was I thought that Dallas's pass rush was a little better than San Francisco's, and I still believe it can be a little. And I thought that because San Francisco had to replace 2 offensive linemen from last year, I thought maybe they're slightly vulnerable, especially over on that. It'd be if you face their left side of the line. I thought maybe that my old Micah, 11 from heaven, wouldn't actually sort of go to heaven. It's like he was gone last night. Maybe he already elevated. Maybe he went to heaven. I don't know. But my biggest fear off last night, my biggest concern was not my quarterback, because that didn't shock me. My biggest concern is that Micah Parsons, as you both stated and drove home the stake through my heart, he was nowhere to be found. He had a couple of little flashes, but you realize our pressure rate, thanks to him coming into this game, was 49%. That by far led the NFL. Last night, guess what it was? 15%. Well, you're going to lose because my whole team is driven. It is rocket fueled by the ability to rush the passer, terrorize the passer, finally make him see ghosts, get him flinching a little off target, and my defense takes away the football. And little Jordan Lewis, who's even smaller than Christian McCaffrey, all I got was one turnover where he actually pulled it out of Christian McCaffrey's hands as he was getting run over near the goal line. He pulled it out of his hands. Way to go. We had 1 sack last night, and it came on what looked to me like a broken play in which Brock Purdy was actually running with the football. He was taken off to run with it, and Curse came all the way across the formation because he was blitzing from the weak side, the backside, and he ran him down for a 2-yard loss. Does that even qualify as a sack? Not in my book, because it wasn't even, he wasn't trying to throw the football. He's trying to just escape and run with the football. It was devastating to me. It was horrifying. It was pure 1,000 deep, tear your guts out anguish to me that Micah Parsons didn't remotely take the game over.
No, he didn't.
So my biggest problem is that my pass rush put no heat on a Brock Purdy who just keeps sitting back there like he's playing soft toss catch. He just keeps lobbing little radar rainbows into the zone like he's a wizard. I've never seen anything like it before.
Skip, though.
Hey, Skip. I appreciate all that pontificating, but I don't care. I don't care what you're talking about. Dallas Cowboys got their faces kicked in on both sides of the football. There was 10 points. They had 1 touchdown. Turpin, because they underestimated him. They ran a bit of a bad call, bad coverage, good play by him. 1 touchdown. It was lucky. We didn't have to talk about your red zone woes. We didn't have to talk about your red zone woes because you never got to the red zone. Because you played against a defense that is not going to allow a bad offense to get there. I told you for the past couple of weeks, Skip, I told you for the past couple of weeks that this offense wasn't there. And you said, we didn't need to be against the Giants. We didn't need to be against the Patriots. We didn't need to. You needed it against the Niners, and guess what? It wasn't there because they weren't there all season. You're not going to just show up against the best defense in the National Football League. We're not going to talk about pretending. You guys are flash plays. The Dallas Cowboys are a flash. They're a flash. Hey, we're highlights. We want to dance. We want to celebrate. And you don't want to be physical. You don't want to get down and dirty. You watch George Kittle. You watch George Kittle against 11 from heaven. That man is in a bar fight every single time. And they don't mind leaving George Kittle on 11, one-on-one, on run plays, running to him. There aren't many tight ends in the National Football League.
Leave me a little bit to chew on him, though.
Okay, so my bad.
I just want a little bit. Just a little bit.
My bad.
So you mentioned the defense and the pressure rate and all that sort of stuff and everything about the quarterback. And I tried to warn you and Michael. You played against the damn Giants and Daniel Jones. You saw Daniel Jones, and you know what that looked like.
Seattle, 11 sacks.
Okay? You saw that. They played against Zach Wilson, who's, by the way, has played better in the last 2 games. Been better. But when y'all played against him, his eyeballs was this big. And if you saw Breece Hall yesterday against the Denver Broncos, they didn't use him for whatever reason against the Dallas Cowboys. Whatever you want to call it. They couldn't, whatever. Then you go to Arizona, and you let a backup to a backup to a backup of a backup to a backup run you down and just get rid of you, annihilate you. And then you ran into a dude that's been benched twice in the last 2 weeks at Mac Jones. You ran into offenses, man, that were not good. And I tried to tell you that. You screamed at me. You pound the desk. You told me I'm foolish. You and Michael. I'm just a hater. All of those sort of things.
You are.
I'm not. I don't care. I don't have a dog in the fight.
Yeah, you do.
I'm trying to get your brain to be stimulated at a certain level. Get out of this delusional state that you're in about the Dallas Cowboys winning a Super Bowl and slow it down. Okay, now you say they're going to make the playoffs. They may make the playoffs. I'm not saying that they're not. They may make it.
Doesn't matter.
But you do realize they got the Chargers, who's coming off a bye, who'll be well rested with a big old tall drink of water at quarterback, 6'6", probably 230 with a rifle.
Who's their offensive coordinator?
Kellen Moore. So he knows Dan Quinn. He knows that defense. He's practiced against it. He's game planned in scrimmages in the summer camps against it. So that's it. But then you get a bye. So you get to get everybody healthy or whatever. Then you got the Rams at home. The Rams, they're not, look, they ain't sleepwalking. And you know how they play the Cowboys really tough. You don't have any answers for 99.
Okay.
Then you get against Jalen Hurts and those Philadelphia Eagles. Ooh, Lord have mercy.
Yep.
So when you start to look at that, you have to admit, Skip, when the Cowboys was being taken to the woodshed last night, you started to think this may be exactly what Keyshawn Johnson was saying. We may wind up possibly missing the playoffs or falling into the last seed.
Okay.
You have to admit that.
Okay, I got a dinner bet on the table right now. Miss the playoffs. Will either of you accept that bet?
What?
Because it's
No,
a
I'm not.
long
I'm not
season.
Hey, dinner bet they won't make the Super Bowl.
Okay, well,
You don't
go
wanna take that
way
in?
out on the limb. I'm actually going out on the limb to say they're going to make the playoffs.
That's not out on a limb. They should
have
make the playoffs.
Third hardest schedule.
They
should make the
it, but
playoffs.
making the playoffs,
Like,
they could be
They
the 6th,
should
7th
make the
seed.
playoffs after last night.
They're
last-
favorite.
After
in
the
enough
way you
games.
just talked about
They're
them.
favorite because they played a
I'm
great
giving
team.
you
They're
facts,
just
Skip.
absolute garbage.
Skip, I'm giving you real facts, man.
All right, now here's what I saw last night. I'm going to start from the start because McCarthy wins the toss and he defers. And if
Mistake.
you think, oh, I got it better. My defense is better than my offense.
That's what you thought.
That's what you thought.
That's what you thought.
Oh, that's what you thought.
I'm going to show you what happened on the first play of the game. If I could show you what Donovan Wilson did. This is what I immediately tweeted. This is a really bad sign. So
Face
they toss
mask.
it to McCaffrey, and he gets his little 2-3 yards. And Donovan Wilson comes flying up from the safety position and just grabs him by the mask. You can't. It's poor coaching. It's poor preparation. It's poor focus. It's just something that good teams do not do on the first play of a big game of that magnitude. Richard knows this. By the way, Richard, I got a quick question. Is Dan Quinn overrated? Is that possible?
Nope. He just doesn't have the talent like he did in Seattle with elite players at every level who are really killers.
All right, so I knew that was a bad sign, and it became a worse sign because San Francisco goes 75 and 11 plays, 75 yards and 11 with not even going to third down one time. And I just said, that's a joke. And that is, it is indicative of what's going to happen. You go back and look at my Twitter timeline. I said, that's no good. And then Dak's first throw of the night. I need to know about Dak's first throw because he'll make it. If he'll just make a nice, easy 6-7 yard throw to CeeDee Lamb, he'll get in some kind of comfort zone. But he goes to the rookie, figure it out, Luke Schoonmaker. And let me show you this throw because
Airmail.
the man is open. The man is open.
Yeah,
in fact, he's wide open, and he misses him 5 yards high. And I immediately tweet, that is a really bad sign.
Give him something easy, man. You can't give him nothing hard.
Okay, it was a harder throw, but Luke Schoonmaker is just
just give him
running
something
wide
easy.
open. And he's like 6'4" or 5. Just hit him. You missed him by 5 yards because you're overamped and you're deer in headlights and you're choking your guts out. That's what's happening. All right, and then we go to. We have a third down play. We stop you guys, and because you're you guys, we stop you, and Curse lines up offside. It's just bad focus, bad coaching, bad preparation. You're just offside. You're offsides on a play that we actually stopped, and we're going to get the football back, and it's 7-0. And I'm thinking, okay, way to go. And he just lined up offsides. Isn't he on Kittle? I think he's on Kittle.
Yeah.
All right. And
That's what those type of dudes do. They
now
put you under
we
pressure.
get to the Pollard fumble. Tony Pollard has not fumbled the football since his rookie year. So it's been 4 years of no fumbling.
Don't care.
And here he goes, and he has one nice little burst where he actually gets a little loose on coming up the sideline from trying to get them out of jail.
And All-Pro
And
Fred.
Guess who? He did.
All-Pro Fred.
And the ball, I didn't think this was recovered in bounds. That's just
You
me.
are Michael. Michael was sitting there screaming in my ear. You are Michael.
It doesn't matter what you
Guess
think.
what? It ain't what you think. It's what the people in the stripes think.
Okay, the ball is not secured before it goes out of bounds. He's rolling across
So now you're saying that the referees in the NFL was cheating for the 49ers.
Well,
That's what you getting ready to tell me.
They wanted the 49ers.
Oh, they
to win this
wanted
game
the
because
49ers.
They think they got something going here.
Sure.
Wanted them to win by 32.
They want the 49ers. Hey,
right.
ref, give it to them.
And then I got to show you one last play. This
Please.
is right before halftime. We still have a chance here to
No, you
get
don't.
back in the football game.
No, you
And little Brandon Cooks, he does what he does best. He gets open deep, and he's gone. He's gone. And
He's
this is a
gone.
hard throw. This is a hard throw, but you got to make it. You got to
throw.
stop and set and throw. And he does not set and throw. Brandon Cooks is gone. And if
it's
you
going
hit
out of
him
bounds.
over his shoulder in bounds, it's a touchdown.
If it was a fifth, we'd all be drunk.
Okay, but you got to stop and set your feet, but he doesn't. He's running hard
Where's he
left,
going?
and you got to.
You can't throw that ball up the field, Skip.
Okay, yes, you can. If you
He's going
stop
from-
hard,
you
if you set
cannot.
hard with your
You
left
cannot.
foot and throw it up the field. Well, I've seen a lot. Boy, Mahomes does it all the time, right?
No.
Okay. So the point is Brock Purdy way better than Dak Prescott? Yeah, yes, he is. He's sadly way better than Dak Prescott. But again,
you say that.
my defense doesn't show up. In the second half, I tweeted at halftime, this has 42-7 written
did.
all over
You
it,
did.
and it
I'll
was
give you that.
42-10. So, okay, way to go. All right, enough about me, enough about him, and definitely enough about him. It is time for the great Michael Irvin to come in here and restore order on this set.
Lick your wounds
Do not miss it because he's about to unleash.
on the Cowboys.
Thanks for watching, Undisputed fans. Do you want more highlights from the show? Make sure to click that subscribe button for all the exclusive content from Undisputed.